Hello, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. I'm your host, Tammy, also known as Unacceptable Canadian Girl. And with me today, I have my beautiful co-host, Ashley, otherwise known as AshLaugh79, and Suze, also known as Suze Creamy. Ladies, how are you? Are you excited for our second episode?
Oh,
What's
hell
up,
yeah.
everybody? What are we
Awesome.
getting into this week?
Well, I hope you guys have your tinfoil hats on real tight today because we are going down the rabbit hole of symbolism, specifically seemingly satanic symbolism.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes. So this is something that I've seen.
Like a dark path.
It's a very dark path, and I know we were all kind of on that path today, looking at different videos and kind of checking things out before we did the episode. So I think this is something I've seen discussed. I'm sure you guys have too, on numerous occasions, and there's a lot of opinion around it. So, a lot of people think it's just coincidence. Some people think that, celebrities and rich elites are just kind of trolling us. And then others think it is just straight up satanic worship. So
I saw you did a tweet on that today, Tammy. What are the
Indeed,
what's the
I
poll
did.
sitting at right now? I'm just curious.
So
Who's winning?
let me just take a quick look. I know when I last checked, which was about 2 hours ago, it was sitting at satanic worship for the win.
Mhm.
So right now we're at 951 votes. 74% are satanic worship. We've got 23% saying they are trolling. And then we've got 3% at it's a coincidence.
Yeah,
I
'cause there's
actually
no
didn't
coincidences.
vote. I retweeted it, but I didn't vote because
What?
I think it's all three.
Because I think it's all. Well, you know what?
I think it's a mix of all three. So, I think there's like a heavy underlying narrative of satanic worship, but I think that there are a lot of unsuspecting characters just going along with the flow of things and kind of maybe see it as a form of art or something kind of edgy. So that's my opinion.
Okay, and so before we kind of dive into this, for anybody that's listening that is like, what on earth are these three talking about? We should probably be specific. So when I say this, I mean, there's tons of symbolism out there you can get into, like symbolism around human trafficking. You can get into symbolism in the way of, Disney movies where I'm sure we all heard The Lion King, where he kind of lays down and it's the dad lion. I can't remember his name, but he lays down and, the grass. Yeah, the grass floofs up. Mufasa, Mufasa, Mufasa. Anyways, the grass kind of flies in the wind and it spells out sex. And I specifically remember looking at those when I was a kid.
Me too.
I do remember when that was a big thing. So it's real for anybody that's never seen it. And I think the other one too was in Aladdin where he says very quietly, "Good girls take off their clothes."
Ooh, I don't know that one.
About that.
Yeah.
Another one of those was Pinocchio, and actually Joe Rogan covered this a while back. But
Really?
there's and he played it on the air, and there's like a really dark part where they talk about capturing children and doing dark things with them, and it's right out there in the open.
Okay, so now I feel like that'll be my rabbit hole after the show today.
You have to go and watch it.
Okay, yeah, I will.
It's like the two like kind of evil, the two evil characters that they're like I don't know, trying to get Pinocchio to go to that island for children or whatever, and they're talking about it.
Okay, so it's like been in front of our faces for a long time.
Yeah, the island for children. What do you know?
Yeah. Sounds familiar.
I know. I've heard of that island.
Have you? Have you?
Well, we all have.
Yeah. So I think specifically though today we were kind of going to look into the more satanic symbolism that we've kind of been seeing, and I want to be clear, at least from my standpoint, and you guys can speak for yourselves on this. I don't know what I think this is, which is why I thought it was an interesting topic. So I've seen it. And when I say I've seen it or I've seen it, what I'm referring to is things like this year's Super Bowl. So the weird kind of devil symbols that Ice Spice was making in that clip, and what are the chances that that's the clip that ended up on TV? Very strange to me. Things like the Weeknd's Super Bowl performance for, I believe it was 2023, where he blatantly flashed Satan up on the screen, which in preparing for this episode this week, I scoured the internet for and could barely find anything on it anymore. And then also Sam Smith's Grammys performance from 2023, which was basically, for anybody that watched it, I don't know how you couldn't think that that was some form of a ritual. And I think that's probably the one that tipped the scales a little bit for me. Again, I'm not sure where I stand on it. But it was definitely strange. And that's another one that in preparation for the episode, I really could not find even a video of the full performance. The one that I did find was very, very, very crappy and barely watchable. So I think that's also kind of weird. I know there was a big uproar about it, but I kind of want to hear from you guys. Like, where do you guys sit with this? Suze, thoughts?
Well, I do believe that I don't believe in too many coincidences. Like, to me, with seeing all these things, I feel like there is definitely some sort of message or messaging, subliminal messaging, whatever it is, behind all this. But I'm like, but why? What are the reasons for all these messages? What are they trying to accomplish here? That's kind of where I'm at, where I'm like, I don't know why. Like, is it just because they want this, lifeless kind of zombie-like communities out there, or is there some other reasoning behind these messages? But I definitely think it's more on the, yes, these are satanic messages being pushed, rather than, oh, it's just a coincidence, or that they're trolling us or anything like that.
Okay. Ash, what about you?
Well, like I said in the intro, well, first of all, I don't follow celebrities, so this is all my own opinion based on my expert opinion of nothing. But basically, like the way I see it, I think there's a little bit of everything in the mix. I think there's definitely a lot of dark satanic sort of imagery going on today, and I don't think that's a coincidence. But I don't know that every entertainer that has that as their form of expression is doing it as a sort of ritual. I think there's a lot of different sort of issues at play here, and something that I think is kind of important to think about is, I think, like, a lot of people who get into the entertainment industry, a lot of them are interested not just in showcasing their talent, but they want fame and they want fortune. And so when that is your sort of driving force, you might get kind of pushed into doing things that you might not want to, but if that's what's going to get you more famous and get you more money, then you're probably just going to comply. And so to me, I kind of wonder about the whole idea of compliance and seeing some celebrities as sort of like pets for like some like larger force to get them to do the things that they want to do, and almost like sometimes humiliate celebrities. Even like if you look at fashion, or like Sam Smith's ridiculous pants that he wore. It's like, like, what the hell is that? Like, why? It's almost like, in a way, demeaning some of the things that they're kind of the way they present themselves. So is that their choice, or
it's like they're given this idea that they have to do these things or act these ways, almost like it's a requirement in order to achieve those riches and that fame.
Right.
So have you guys seen the video? What is her name? Taryn Manning. I think that's her name. I hope I have that right. The gold juice video.
I have not.
No.
So Taryn Manning, and I'm 100%, maybe 99.9% that is her proper name. She was in the movie Crossroads with Britney Spears.
Oh, okay.
She was kind of the lunatic in Orange is the New Black, if you ever saw that.
Mm-hmm.
So she's been around for a while. She's a well-known actress. I think she's more one of those actresses that everybody, they maybe don't know her name, but then they see her and they're like, oh yeah, that girl. She's been in a
Okay.
lot of stuff. She did a video not too long ago. She was actually on a podcast, and she talks about this thing called gold juice. And in the video, she says, in Hollywood, you get offered gold juice. And she was like, I was offered it in my 20s, I was offered it in my 30s, and I was offered it in my 40s, and I never took it. But basically, they told me if I drank the gold juice, I could live forever. I would have all the money and fame that I wanted. But she does say in this video, she doesn't know what the gold juice is. Like she says, I don't know if it's actually something you would drink, if it's a metaphor or what it is. But it kind of makes me wonder, like, Ashley, in terms of what you were saying, when you reach a certain point in fame, are you maybe offered something, whatever this gold juice is, and as long as you comply with everything that they want, you lead a great life and you have no issues, but this is what you need to do in order to do that. And basically, when we say jump, you jump.
Right.
This kind of also maybe ties into like all the celebrities that, allegedly went to like Epstein Island, right? And like they are so hush hush about all the child trafficking, et cetera, that happens in Hollywood or with these elites, et cetera. And it's like, okay, were they given this gold juice? Like, they'll keep your fame, you'll keep your riches, but you better not speak and let anybody know what's actually happening here.
Well, and so it's funny you bring up Epstein Island in this too, because that's a whole other branch of this. And have either one of you read One Nation Under Blackmail, Volume 1 or 1 and 2?
I have not.
You're giving us so much homework, Tammy. So much
I know.
Right?
You're supposed to tell us this stuff before.
Yeah, what the fuck, man?
So One Nation Under Blackmail, Volume 1 and 2 is written by Whitney Webb. She does a great podcast. She's an investigative journalist. She's independent. And it gives some real insight into kind of what goes on behind the scenes. Now, this is more geared towards the political side, but I think that there's a lot of ties there that maybe we don't know about. I mean, it's no secret that the CIA is heavily involved in Hollywood. They have been for many, many, many years, probably since the beginning, really, of the CIA. But basically, it talks about kind of the birth of Epstein and how he came to rise, at least in Volume 1. And it touches on how, kind of back in the day, I want to say, and I probably don't have the dates right, but it was a long time ago, somewhere in the 50s. The CIA was actually bringing politicians into the Plaza Hotel, and they had what was called the Blue Room. And I can't remember the number of the room, but it is in the book if you read it. And basically,
666.
they were blackmailing politicians in this room using like sexual activities with young boys.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's pretty interesting to kind of see, and basically what they were doing after that was the CIA. So it was the director of the CIA, at the time, that was bringing these people in and blackmailing them. And basically once they were blackmailed, he could get them to do whatever he wanted them to do, but it almost became a very, very strange club where everybody had blackmail on everybody. And I can't remember the politician's name at the time, but the book kind of centers around one person in particular. And his wife actually came forward and testified in court about what she saw. She actually was in the Blue Room at the Plaza Hotel, and so it's pretty interesting. But I often wonder if that maybe carries over.
Right. And then the whole Bohemian oh God, Bohemian Grove thing that was
that's
going on.
interesting.
I don't know.
And
This
is
is
still
the thing
going on.
that like I don't pay a lot of attention to this stuff because in my mind it's been sort of like fluff or something. But now I'm kind of realizing that it's not fluff, and I should know about it because like these are really depraved things that are happening around us, and these involve decision makers that are affecting our lives. So
Yeah.
I need to start paying attention to this type of stuff. It's not just some fucked up thing that's going on by like weirdos. They're determining our, the outcome of our lives. So, but yeah, I remember Duncan Trussell talking about Bohemian Grove on Joe Rogan, and the same thing. Like someone snuck in, wasn't it? Alex Jones who snuck
Yeah, it
in?
was.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a video of it.
right, and basically like witnessed satanic rituals going on there as well.
Which they say what he recorded was the cremation of care ceremony, and to my understanding, it is a ceremony that basically alleviates them from their sins and wrongdoings from the entire year. And they actually sacrifice a mock. They use a fancier word than I'm going to use, but it's like a mock child, an effigy. That's what I'm looking for.
Right.
And I know, like, I've watched the video a few times, and you can hear this like terrible, terrible screaming. Whether or not it's just a recording playing to make it more scary for them and make it more real for them, I don't know. But it's definitely weird. Suze, have you seen that?
I have not seen it. Fuck, I feel like I should just dip out, guys.
No way.
No,
way.
but you're giving me lots of things to go and look at. That's for sure.
I feel like Suze is going down a rabbit hole tonight.
I am going down a rabbit hole for sure, and I'm watching Pinocchio. Just saying.
Yeah, we might have to do an update episode in a couple of months once we've gotten back out of the rabbit hole.
Where we were then and where we are now.
Okay, I don't stay
just
down
have
there for
like
too long.
gray hair, wrinkles, just dead eyes.
Shit.
So one of the other things, just on the topic of kind of the cremation of care and kind of those weird ceremonies and stuff, one of the other things the three of us were kind of talking about earlier that I'd also sent some videos on is the spirit cooking. And the spirit cooking is particularly interesting to me because of the ties that it has to both celebrities and politicians. So it's actually Marina Abramovic that does this kind of spirit cooking thing. I believe she first started doing it somewhere in the 1990s. But basically, they have dinner. And all of these rich celebrities and politicians go to these dinners, and they have models that put their heads through a hole on the table so that it looks like their heads are being served. And yeah, it looks like dead heads. And then kind of throughout like where the place where they have the dinner, they have bodies set up that look like they're dead, and they slather them with blood, urine, sperm, breast milk, pig's blood. And then she writes very strange what seems to be spells on the walls in blood. And people sit around and they eat dinner and they laugh and they talk. And I can't really figure out what the allure is there. That doesn't seem like anything I want to have in the way of dinner. But apparently for celebrities and politicians, it's super popular. And so when WikiLeaks
there's got to be some meaning.
Well, there has to
why
be.
they're doing this.
There has to be. And this was part of the
Whatever
big email
fucked up
or
internet
email
is.
leak when WikiLeaks released the Clinton and Podesta emails. They had emails going back and forth because Tony Podesta was actually attending one of Marina Abramovic's spirit cooking dinners. And, celebrities like Lady Gaga have also been a big part of these. I believe Britney Spears as well. So what do you guys think about this? I mean, you guys watched some of the videos. Sue's thoughts?
Like, besides it's fucked up, like that's my thought. It's
Do you
beyond
think
fucked up.
that
I cannot wrap my head around why anybody would do this. I have no idea.
do you think it's linked to something bigger, or do you think they're just weirdos and they're looking for like a thrill?
No, I maybe both. Like maybe some of them attend because they're looking for this thrill. But I feel like there's got to be something else behind it's got to be linked with something else. For
Do
sure.
you think it has any ties to human trafficking? Do you think there could be, do you think that this is a way that they can kind of cover up some of the stuff that they do?
Oh, that's quite the conspiracy, but I think that's
Right.
quite plausible. Quite plausible.
Ash, what about you?
Well, first of all, I do want to say, in the event that I get killeried, I am of sound mind and I love my life, so I did not kill myself.
I second that. I also love my life.
Here we go, eh? Like just right off the get-go, getting on a list.
All right, I'm on that. I'm with you guys. like, if it happens, please go down that rabbit hole and find out what the fuck happened.
I think I'm with Suze. I think it's a little bit of all three. Or not all three, but like all of the above. Like I think there's probably some serious notes in there. There's like some sort of strange agenda going on. But I also think that it could just be that there's probably a lot of meaninglessness to a lot of celebrities who have everything they want and they're probably still not happy. And so like they're throughout time, there's always been like an interest in the carnivalesque or the grotesque, or you think about like the freak shows that used to come, travel through towns and show like just different things that kind of shock and awe you. And so those types of things have probably like, it's almost like taking drugs where you'd have to like chase the dragon, and go down like a darker and darker path to get the same sort of shock and awe that you would have. So I could see that. I could see that being definitely a part of it, of just being like so bored with your life and having everything kind of set out for you that it's like you just start doing stranger and stranger things that people say is art, and you get a little bit of a stir from it. But I do
like
think
nothing is good enough.
It's like this story. I think there's I think it was one of the Kardashians, and I think Megan Fox does this as well. And they both went, kind of public about it, that they have this blood drinking ritual, where they cut their blood, put it in like a glass and with their spouse or their loved one or whatever, their better half, and they drink each other's blood. And it's like, but why? and is it like this rush that they're getting? Like what, or is there some deeper meaning behind it of why they do this fucked up shit?
Well, why would you want to drink blood? I for one do not think it tastes good. We've all probably tasted our own blood if we've cut our finger and like sucked on it or something, right? Like just to get it to stop. But
yeah,
I'm not like, this is good, I'm gonna go pour myself a glass. Like what?
Yeah, it's
exactly
right.
Like
a strange type of dare or rite of passage, or like getting you into the cool club type thing.
Yeah, like this isn't witchcraft. Like what are you guys doing to get into some fucked up club?
So this brings me to the next thing. So I've obviously been doing a little bit of reading and stuff on this. And so speaking of, getting into clubs and stuff, a lot of people, and I didn't include this in the poll because I kind of already knew it would, there'd be a lot of people going after that one, but a lot of people tie much of this stuff to Freemasonry.
Mm-hmm.
And other people tie it to what is her name? It's a goddess, an Egyptian goddess, Isis.
Isis. Yeah.
Yes. And so if you look at things, there's different videos you can look at obviously online, but there's a lot of things linking Beyonce specifically to being kind of crowned the goddess, or Isis, if you will. And there is a performance where she's actually dressed as the goddess Isis. So
Mhm. I saw that
what
today, actually.
yeah,
that's
what do you guys
interesting
think
because
about that?
He's also on the list of the transvestigators list as being a man. Just saying.
I don't know about that one. I don't know.
She has a pretty rockin' body. Like, I feel like that's a lot of surgeries if she's actually a dude. Now, Big Mike, I can get behind,
Yeah, I can get behind Big Mike for sure.
but
which
Beyonce,
is Michelle Obama, by the way. For
yes,
our,
yes,
for our
for anybody
listeners.
listening.
Yeah.
I can get behind Big Mike because there's for sure been some weirdness there. But do you guys really think Beyonce could be a man?
Hey, anything's possible. That's all I'm saying. Anything's
Yeah.
possible.
That's the thing. I'm open to anything right now because a lot of the stuff that I thought was true isn't true. So
Right.
I kind of reserve my judgment now. And I think like even the Freemason stuff, I don't know anything about it. And I kind of fault myself for it's part of the reason why I think a lot of what's happened to our democracy, how it's eroded, is because some of us out there are afraid of looking stupid, and so they've coined this idea of conspiracy theories being so like ridiculous that even if you wanted to go down that path and like explore those ideas, you're all of a sudden like this ridiculous
Crazy
person
tinfoil
who should
hat
be
wearer.
overlooked. Yeah. And so
Yep.
like I'm still guilty of that, where it's like I still have to take my conspiracies in small doses because I'm so far behind on all of this stuff, and I'm just kind of starting to learn more about them that I can only take so much before I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I thought that that was different than it is, or this or that. So um I think that anything is probably possible because some of the most insane things that I never would have believed seem to be showing to be true. So I'm open minded for pretty much anything right now. But I again, like I have to keep looking into it. Like I'll always reserve judgment. My mind could be changed all the time depending on what new information comes out. So
Yeah, I agree. I'll dive into whatever conspiracy and go down that rabbit hole. The only one I'm like refusing to like even entertain is that the earth is flat. Just throwing that out there. I'm not a flat earther and will never be one.
yeah, I have a hard time with that one as well.
Yeah, I do too.
Well,
I'm
I'm glad
pretty
we're all on the same
open-minded.
page and I don't have to dip out because
Yeah.
I don't know, ladies. Guys,
Suze was
flat earth.
dipping out if we were flat earthers.
Yeah.
Bye.
No, I'm with you guys there. I mean, I've dug into it in the sense of I've taken the evidence. I've had a lot of conversations about it. There was a time where I kind of sat in the middle and I was like, I really don't know, but not for any other reason than just everything's a lie. So I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, if we found out it's flat tomorrow, I'd be like, cool.
I'd be like,
Yep.
all right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't been convinced yet, but like I don't understand why a lot of the lies have been propagated already. So I mean, I get it. Kind of understand. I didn't know the world was so evil.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it is to confuse and deceive, and
Yes.
we almost
Divide.
live in a time right now where you don't know what to believe, and you know, there's control to be had, I think, when people are confused, and they're almost looking for, you know, confuse people so that they're looking for answers, and then present them with an answer. And this is what scares me. Present them with an answer and you could probably control them.
Right. And I think also,
Sure.
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Another, I think, very important point is that, like, if you're trying to look for a reason for why all of this is even happening, like even with the satanic rituals and the symbolism of that, I think a large part of that could just be the idea of like kind of dismantling traditions and traditional values. I myself, I'm not actively religious. I'm a spiritual person, but I do believe that it's important to have like a value system. And I think that a lot of people are kind of flailing right now because they have no value system. Everything's been kind of torn down, and this new sort of dystopian aura of hopelessness is kind of like it makes people like seek these other types of bacchanal and thrills and like the carnivalesque, as I said. So I think the reason why we're seeing a lot of this imagery that's so kind of dark can be to create this aura of hopelessness so that people are kind of clinging to the government to give solutions for all the dark times that we're going through.
Makes sense to me. Yeah, definitely destroying those, like, even just factoring in, you know, the whole trans agenda, and you can talk about like how that's, you know, I believe that agenda is also contributing to destroying, you know, the nuclear family.
Yes.
Tearing
Absolutely.
down those traditional families with those traditional practices, beliefs, values, etc., and kind of leaving us with this sterile, you know, zombie-like state, right?
Well,
Where
same with
those
the
people can then be more controlled.
feminism movement.
Absolutely, that as well.
Mhm.
You know, and to invert the gender, like I think I read this when I was transvestigating, but like to invert gender, it's kind of like, you know, slap God in the face,
Yeah.
right? So again, that's like an attack on the church, attack on religions, etc.
And I'm not a religious person. We, you know, we were brought up believing in God, creator, um, you know, but my dad very specifically brought us up non-denominational because he did not believe in the religious aspect. And this is not to knock anybody. So anybody listening or whatever, don't read too much into this, but he was not for kind of the man-made side of things in terms of, you know, I guess Anglican or Baptist or even Catholic. A lot of the stuff is just kind of like stand up, sit down, you know, repeat after me. And to each their own. I do not judge in terms of that. But he just was not into that and didn't feel as though it was personal for him. And he wanted something more personal. So I definitely believe in God, and you know, I for sure believe in good and evil. So the satanic messaging and stuff like that for sure resonates with me in the sense of you know, I don't think it's good. I don't know why they're doing it, but definitely I don't see Sam Smith and Kim Petras doing the award show and having a satanic ritual and go like, this is so awesome. In fact, after I saw that, I can't even listen to the song now because it just freaks me out.
Yeah, no, I agree. Did you guys hear about you guys know Little Nas X?
I've
Rapper?
heard of
I've
whoever
Heard
it
of him,
is.
right? So
Same.
he recently put out, like, I think he released a new album, and this could be like a publicity sort of thing to, like, you know, get attention put on his new album. Who the hell knows? But he had done, I think it was a TikTok video not too long ago, where he said it was him returning to God after the industry tried to make him satanic. And then he did a follow-up video saying something along the lines of Hollywood going or the industry going silent after I threatened to expose them all.
Oh, interesting.
So that's kind of a rabbit hole that I'm kind of look into and see, well, what exactly are you saying here, Little Nas X? What are you talking about?
Well, he's not the first though either.
Well, there's that video of Britney Spears that I sent you girls where
Oh.
she's like, well, there's a couple I sent. One where she's like writhing around in a devil's outfit with a pitchfork and is quite provocative in it. But then there's another one from much more recently where she's basically like giving the devil syndrome and then the finger and, like basically it
It
seems
was
to
like a
me
fuck you to the industry.
flipping
Yeah.
the bird to the industry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a few of them. I mean, also Kanye. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people, I don't know where I stand with that, because a lot of people seem to think that, he's lost his mind and whatever, but I've looked into the CIA and the FBI and all the other 3 and 4 letter agencies enough to know that if they want to make you look crazy, they'll make you look crazy so that they don't look bad.
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I don't know where I stand on him. I did see some stuff with him on, where he was trying to kind of oust the music industry and stuff like that. And then he had released text messages from his trainer. And I put that in quotations because his trainer seems to have a lot of say in his life. And then that gets into a whole other thing, where people say that these people have handlers that are basically, people in their lives that keep them on the straight and narrow, in the sense of, if you're a big rich celebrity and you're not following the rules, your handler will come in and kind of, redirect you. And there was some very weird text messages from his trainer to him saying like, I'll get you committed again. I can't quite remember everything that was said, but it was very, very weird.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I kind of think it's just a whole other world that we really know nothing about. I think, we kind of see things as they present them to us, not necessarily the true form of things, if that makes sense.
And like also Coolio, like he was found dead at
Yes.
59, and he was explaining how he wanted to expose certain things allegedly with the government, child trafficking, etc. And I like he was very coded in the way he was saying things, but also clear enough that you could read through, to the other side. And
Wasn't
but
there some?
he was
Sorry,
worried
go ahead.
about his family being hurt by everything that he was saying. But what do you know? Now he's dead.
Mysteriously dead.
Mhm.
Wasn't there some other celebrities that they had committed suicide, and then there was some like rumors? I think Chester from Lincoln Park was one of them.
Yep.
That there was like he was trying to expose something, and then all of a sudden,
Chris Cornell,
yeah,
And
Anthony Bourdain.
what about, was it Brittany? No, Brittany Murphy. I don't know.
Oh,
I'm so bad at this stuff, but
maybe Brittany Murphy.
I think you're right about that. Yes.
and then oh gosh,
Kurt Cobain.
and Hesh was it? No, I don't know.
Oh, the Anne Hesh thing was really weird.
Okay, I was right. Woo!
Yeah.
I'm so bad at this.
Woohoo!
Well done, Ash. Yeah, no, you got it right. Yeah,
Win a
Anne Hesh
gold
was a
star.
weird one too. And for everybody that doesn't know about that one, that was the one. And I've watched this. I don't know what to think about it. But that was the one where they said that she was dead, and there was a helicopter video or drone footage. I don't know what it was from, where she was actually trying to get out of the body bag.
Right.
Like,
I saw that.
I don't know if that's real, and that's part of the problem too.
That is
what
part of
is
the problem.
real.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. We don't know.
I mean, when you're seeing everything through a black mirror, it's really hard to tell.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's been a ton of celebrities that have come forward. Also, Ashley, Matthew Perry.
Right. That was a really weird one. And I mean, he kept dropping messages throughout his, like, leading up to his death, and like really strange coded messages about I am Batman, and apparently in his book he wrote in the like one of the final chapters about how if he was talking about being Batman, it's a cry for help. Apparently, I don't know. I didn't read the book, but
No, it is true. So I did find that in the book.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And then he actually posted a picture of just like a hand, and it had like 3 berries in it, and
Cranberries.
he said, I've only eaten this today. And actually, people thought they were cranberries, but it was another type of berry. Now it's going to escape me, but it's
the
a like
deathberry.
a poisonous berry.
Yes,
And
hang on. I have that answer.
Like I have that berry in my
yeah, so
Um,
we thought it had to do with Dolores O'Riordan from the Cranberries, but then it turned out those berries that he was actually holding, was it not elderberry? No,
baneberries.
baneberry. That's it. Yeah.
Baneberries cause cardiac arrest if eaten by humans.
Mhm.
And Bane was the character that defeated Batman.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
Dun, dun,
That's
dun.
right.
Yeah, so I rabbit holed into this a little bit because Ashley called me at like 9:30 at night and was like, "Oh my gosh!" And this was like when we were just kind of birthing the podcast,
Mhm.
in the sense of it was just an idea. So this is going back to oh my gosh, it's got to be
October, I think.
October,
Yeah.
And so I started going down this rabbit hole, and yeah, baneberries. Definitely, it seems like that's what it could have been. I had a lot of people comment on that and say no, baneberries are too big or too small. I can't remember, but it just seems a little too coincidental to me that his Instagram for basically the entire time he had it was almost like a LinkedIn page. And then
Right.
suddenly, I think it was like 6 days before he died.
He was
it-
posting every day.
Yeah, and multiple times. And it was kind of nonstop. And then the
And very
other weird thing, sorry, what was that, Suze?
And then very cryptid shit as well, like that he's posting.
Oh, yeah. Like the messages for anybody that is listening that hasn't looked into this, like if you like rabbit holes, this is a rabbit
Yeah.
hole because
And they're still on his Instagram. I mean, maybe not
Yeah.
right now. I haven't checked recently.
I am
but
looking at
they were-
baneberries right now, and they look just like cranberries.
that's what I
Mhm.
thought. But then
Yeah.
I got in trouble from people for saying it. So I was like, okay.
Tammy,
Um,
I'm laughing because remember us looking at all the pictures of his hands because we were like, those are women's hands, and then we're like, oh, wait.
And then I went down that rabbit hole the next day, and I'm like,
Oh,
I'm
shit.
texting Ashley pictures of his hands and other photos, and I'm like, no, dude, for sure those are his hands. Like he just has feminine hands.
He's just got
Well,
bitch hands.
EGI. Was he actually a woman? EGI. I'm just saying.
Oh, Suze, you better explain what EGI is.
Oh, EGI stands for elite gender inversion, which is this thought that, celebrities and all these people we see on the Black Mirror were actually inverted. Their genders have been inverted, and actually from a very young age. So I had mentioned, Beyonce before, that she is actually a man. I was on a podcast, a Big Puff podcast, where we spoke about this, and one of the hosts on that show did mention, regarding the Beyonce thing, that her name actually stands for boy once. Bae is boy
Oh,
in
yeah.
whatever language, and once, once. But it's obviously a very, very deep rabbit hole. That is quite the stretch in a lot of examples. But hey, if he's got feminine hands, it's possible that
Well,
Feminine hands is an
He was-
understatement.
he was a female to male.
I'm not sure about like that whole rabbit hole, except what I will say is that if you look at some of the celebrities' children now,
Yes,
they have actually inverted their genders.
Yes.
so-
they have. It's at an alarming rate, the amount of celebrity
So-
kids
so-
that we see.
Somebody give some examples of this too, though.
Ashley sent us the photo. I know there's
I know.
Gwen
I'm
Stefani,
looking for it. Why do we talk
Brad
so
Pitt,
much?
and Angelina Jolie's daughter. I know that one. Megan Fox, I think, was on that list.
Holy crap, we talk too much in our chat.
We
Okay, I've got
Yeah.
it. So Megan Fox, her son now looks like a girl. Gwen Stefani's son looks like a girl. Uh, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie's daughter looks like a boy. Adele's son looks like a girl. And Charlize Theron's son looks like a girl. And Naomi Watts' son looks like a girl.
Yes.
And
Now,
so
I noticed
they-
Naomi Watts kids. Very weird.
and this ties into like, okay, celebrities, like I think Ashley, like offline you had mentioned before, they're kind of, seen as this royalty type thing that people are supposed to, value these people or look up to these people, and
right.
people, want to do what they do and be like them and blah blah blah. And this trans agenda is we can all see that there is an agenda here. Like the alarming rate of the amount of even trans kids and popping up daily from 10 years ago. It's a huge difference, right? So would it not make sense to have these celebrities kids, be in these trans kind of roles or these non-binary, they identify as this or they identify as that, so that all these people that idolize these celebrities, then it becomes this trendy thing. This is cool. I want to be like Angelina Jolie's daughter and I'm going to transition too.
Of course.
Right.
Of
And
course.
like another thing about celebrities and the idea of like treating them like royalty, then these celebrities, they have these opinions and they share them with the world like they're, some sort of god, about say like the climate and how we have to all eat bugs or we have to stop driving and they're so hypocritical. They're driving around in private jets, flying around the world. Sorry, not driving.
Eating beef short ribs in Davos.
Right.
Yeah.
Having lobsters in frickin' Malaysia. And us plebs are just supposed to stay in our little boxes, probably cardboard boxes in a few years, and just shut the fuck up. Like we're a nuisance to them. So we need to just, not do anything because we're bad for the environment. Stop farting, stop eating.
Stop farting.
That's not going to happen. And it's like,
Stop the oyster farts at least.
that's right.
Yes. Yes.
And so it's like they don't live lives like us. They don't know what it's like to live in the world, and yet they're deigning to tell us what to do, like they have some sort of authority.
Well, no different than Taylor Swift endorsed Joe Biden.
Mhm.
What in the actual fuck?
Yep.
Who is endorsing that man? He can't even speak a sentence.
It's elder abuse at this point.
It's elder abuse.
They're just pushing that poor asshole out on stage
Oh my
and hoping for the best. He's shaking hands with nobody. He doesn't know which direction to go.
My hubby made a meme, weekend at Biden's, and it's just the weekend at Bernie's meme and they're propping up Biden.
Oh my god.
Oh, it was so funny.
But you're exactly right in the sense of they do these things in Hollywood and it influences people greatly. And it's really, really sad because, I don't know what's going on there and if they're, being paid to, I mean, obviously they're being paid to do what they do, but if they're being paid in the sense of, you need to push a message or whatever the case is, but it's very sad because you're not just, this isn't Twitter, you're not influencing, 50,000 people or 250,000 people. You're influencing the world. You are prompting children to wonder about whether or not they're good enough,
Not to be happy with their own bodies.
yes. And I don't have kids, but I have nieces and nephews that I love dearly, and I cannot imagine ever telling my niece or nephew that they are not perfect the way that they are. And
Mhm.
what would it do to a child for a parent to encourage them to change who they are?
Yeah. And even like putting kids on puberty blockers, there are no studies on the long-term effects of that. And then
No.
the fact that they're going to have to go on hormones for the rest of their lives. I actually made a tweet today because there was this tweet going around about some little boys.
Your tweet
Yeah.
that infuriated me. That one, yeah.
Yeah, yep, that's the one. They had taken puberty blockers early in life, and they're like 15 or 16, but they look like 11-year-old girls. And like they're gonna have they're not now on a big pharma subscription for the rest of their lives, because if they want to maintain the image that they've been told is
They need to
more
be, yeah.
acceptable, they're going to have to be on hormones and who knows what else for the rest of their lives to maintain that image. So how is that healthy?
Well,
Like,
that doesn't.
I was
Sorry, go
saying
ahead.
sorry, I'll just one more thing. Like
No,
I
no,
was
no,
saying
go
in my
ahead.
tweet, like that I was so relieved when I went off birth control because of the side effects. And I went on like a bunch of different pills to try like a different one to see if it was better, but I hated them all. And so like those hormones are meant for my body, and I didn't like how I felt on them. So what would it be like in a body that isn't even supposed to have those hormones?
Exactly. And like kids go through puberty. Puberty plays a role in their chemical makeup, right? Your body needs to go through that puberty process in order to naturally figure out who you are, if we shall, put it that way. It needs to do that process naturally, right? Not forced in any which way direction, right? And I don't care what anybody says. Every single kid on this fucking planet, okay, hates themselves at some point during puberty. All of us included, I am sure.
Yeah. Life
Right?
is
So
awkward.
100%.
exactly, right? So some kid is like, I'm going through puberty and hating themselves or whatever. So what we're just supposed to be like, oh well, you are in the wrong gender. Let's change that now. You're going to be 100 times happier. Balls. Like, no. Let's teach that child to love who they are instead and encourage them to move forward and figure out who they are on their own without, poisoning their brains with whatever fucking nonsense.
Well, even never mind even poisoning the brains when nobody's even talking about the side effects and like some of the horrendous things that are happening to these kids, and specifically boys that go to girls, they're I don't want to call it a vagina because I'm sorry, it is not a
Neo-vagina.
vagina.
Yeah.
It's a
They're-
neo vagina. Yeah.
Neo, yeah.
Yeah, whatever it is, neo vagina. Fuck. Come
And
on.
us women are called vagina owners now.
Vagina owners or bonus holes.
Bonus holes. Thanks. That's not misogynistic at all.
Oh no, not even in the slightest.
No, doesn't make you feel like a piece of shit or worthless.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
But some of these kids that so these boys to girls that have, I don't even want to say it, neo vaginas, they're growing hair inside of them and they're getting very bad infections. And shame on the people that aren't taking the time to actually make themselves look at these pictures of what this actually looks like, because there's enough of them floating around the internet that show you, kind of what is it a neo penis then?
Right. The phalloplasty. Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So the
So the phalloplasty is when they take skin from either the thigh or the forearm
to construct
and
penis,
fashion what's supposed to be a penis out of it.
And there's apparently 3 different types of penises that they can request.
What?
Yes. So I do know a trans man who is a friend of mine, who transitioned at the age of, I think, 29.
So when he was old enough to, who is it a boy now? I'm trying to.
This person identifies as a male. Yes. So,
okay.
And totally passes. You would never know. However, this person has never had bottom surgery because he's very much against it, in the sense of there are a lot of complications that come with it, right? So yes, does he, I'm going to call him he, whatever, fine, live his life as a man? Sure. but will flat out say, if you were to ask, are you a woman? Yes, I'm a woman, right? It is what it is, right? But just carries on day to day as a man. Agrees
And
that
that's
it shouldn't be, pushed on children. Believes that children should not be, um, kind of influenced in any sense, right? Just let kids be kids and discover who they are on their own sort of thing, which is fine. But he's actually the one that explained to me the difference, because he knows people obviously that have had these surgeries, that explain what the different surgeries are when creating that penis. I don't remember all the details of all the different options, but like if you wanted like a fully actually functioning penis, apparently, with a relatively average, at least, type size, they actually put a metal rod in it. So it's erect all the time. It's like,
oh wow.
why would
But
you want that?
Does it
yeah.
does it have a happy ending?
I don't know.
Can it
100%.
do that?
That I
I
don't
have
know.
so many
I don't know.
questions.
I don't want to
I
say that, like, yeah, I have no idea. Or you have like this little small penis that really serves no purpose, right? So
Like
it's
it just
like,
hangs
again,
there.
what is the point of that, right? And then when you go the other way, I remember listening to a Twitter space. I can't remember whose space it was. But there's this reporter that was on it, and I have to get her name, and I'll put it in the comments when I do afterwards, when I remember her name. But she has been, kind of studying this topic for a very long time, and she had brought up this story about, I think it was in the UK, where there was this young boy who went on puberty blockers at whatever, puberty age, and when he had gotten to, like, let's say the age of 18, where he's now allowed to like have the surgery or whatever the case may be. Let's say, um, what people aren't, telling these young kids and advising them. It's like, let's say he gets to a certain age, 17, 18, and decides, you know what? I want to come off of these drugs. I don't want to transition anymore. I want to continue my life as a man. That man has now stunted his growth in a sense, and
mhm.
will live, potentially, most likely live with the penis of a boy for the rest of his life.
Nobody wants that.
No man wants that, right? And now let's say, and this apparently did happen in the UK, where that boy turned 18, wanted to move forward with the surgery, and they use the penis to create this neo vagina, right? And because he went on these puberty blockers at, let's say the age of 11, 12, or whatever, his penis is too small to create that vagina. So
Mhm.
he bled out on the table and he died.
Right. I remember hearing that. Yeah.
Right? Are they
Yeah.
reporting on this? Are they letting people know this? No. So then I saw a video, which I can't remember who was either, with all these, like, doctors that do these surgeries. And there was this one doctor that was explaining, now they're doing like, they're implementing like some sort of robotic type parts to create these neo vaginas in situations like that, where they don't have enough skin. Now, I haven't like researched more of that robotic nonsense, but because this is a thing, like, kids will bleed out on the table in a situation like that because they don't have the skin to support it.
So let me ask you both this. Why do you think that they are so hell-bent on pushing this trans agenda? So I ask because um, it's interesting how we started with one topic today
Yeah.
and it's brought us all the way to this. But it's actually, if somebody had said, you're going to talk about satanic rituals and it's going to segue into transgenderism, I would have been like, huh? But actually, this has seamlessly gone into transgenderism. And the one commonality with all the things we've talked about today is the influence of Hollywood,
Mhm.
The influence of
which
Hollywood, the
that should
destruction
terrify
of
everybody.
the nuclear family.
Yes. So why do you guys think that they are trying so hard to push this trans agenda? What benefit does it have to those pushing it?
I
I know what
personally
I
think
think on this, but I want to hear from you guys.
I think it's again, like, destroy those practices and those beliefs, sterilize an entire generation to make them weak-minded, easy to control people.
Boom.
To me, that's their benefit, right? Like, control, they make the masses as controllable as possible. And how do you do that? Pumping them with drugs, telling them what to do, telling them how to live. There are these weak-minded people now who can't think for themselves and need big daddy government to tell them how to live their lives.
Interesting. Ashley?
I think that it's also like, I think there's a bit of hive mind going on there too, where I think a lot of people are just victims of weaponized compassion, where you hear that, oh, like people who are confused about their identity, you know, they need to be affirmed. And so, you know, instead of giving them a chance to just figure their shit out, people are kind of like toppling over themselves to try and be like compassionate and
Virtuous?
yeah, and yeah, then you get into like virtue signaling where you're such a good person if you're accepting. And for me personally, like I don't care what you do as an adult as long as you're not infringing on other people's rights. And I think this could be a whole other topic when it comes to women and women's spaces. And then also, children need a chance to grow up. And so, like, I understand that you might want to, if you're interested in transitioning, if you were to do it younger, then the chances of, I'm doing air quotes right now, but passing as the other gender is higher if you go on puberty blockers young. But my concern is like, you're not, are you getting to the root of the problem of the insecurity, or are you just putting a band-aid on it that's completely, it's not even a band-aid, it's irreversible at that point.
I literally just mentioned this yesterday. It's like, why are we catering to this and affirming this instead of trying to find and address the root cause? What
Right.
is making this child feel the way that they're feeling?
Right.
Like I had somebody on Twitter like try to troll me and tell me like, oh, if your kid came up to you and said that they thought they felt funny and they thought they were in a different body, you would blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I would not affirm them. No, never in a million fucking years. But I'm not going to just disregard their concerns and what they're saying. I'm going to have a
Right.
conversation with my kid. I'm going to
Mhm.
ask my kid, let's find out what is making you feel this way. And that's a problem. I'm not allowed to ask my child that. Is that I'm some horrible mother that's like not letting them just be themselves? No, I'm trying to help my child learn that it's okay to have insecurities, and we all do, and we can work through them and end up better on the other side and actually love who we are. Let's work through that. Let's support that.
Right. And then I guess the other thing would be that I just think that it's a lifelong subscription to Big Pharma. So that's a big win for them.
Oh, for sure.
So I
always.
think, yeah, follow the money. And I think the big push would come from that, just like it is for other topics I'm sure we'll cover in the future.
Yeah, that's kind of, I was actually going to say, Suze, I'll agree with what you're saying. Ashley, I agree with what you're saying, but also I think Big Pharma has a lot to do with it. My thing is always follow the money.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, it seems like anytime you follow the money, you're finding out even more and more kind of dark secrets. And actually, I did, knowing that we were doing this episode today, I reached out to a couple people. One was Wiretap, one was Starman Matt, and COVID Parent and I had a conversation, I think early last week about this. But one of the things that Starman Matt said about it was follow the money.
Mm-hmm.
He said this satanic ritual stuff, even that is linked to the money. So I
Everything
think
is about money at the end of the day.
Yep. And I think that anything that you look really deep into, at the heart of it, you'll find companies like BlackRock, Vanguard, what is it, State Street, I think is the
Mm-hmm.
third one.
Yep.
Those three are always at the heart of everything, whether it is the satanic agenda, the transgender
15-minute
narrative.
cities.
Yeah, 15-minute cities. That's a whole other episode, but
Yeah.
They're at the heart of, or at the root of, all of it every time. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're listening and you don't know about those companies, I would highly suggest that you start looking into them. And then one of the places you can start is Google what does what does BlackRock have shares in?
Right.
Or if there's a specific company that you're wondering about, and it's honestly, it's basically every company. If you want to know who they're owned by, just Google, what are the major shareholders of whatever company you're wondering about. And I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, you will see BlackRock, Vanguard, or State Street show up on those lists. I know a company that I used to work for, BlackRock was one of their biggest investors, and I didn't even know. I actually started looking into it not too long ago. They're at the heart of Pfizer. They're at the heart of the fact checkers. It's a very, very, very small elite club that the plebs are not a part of.
And
not at all.
We did not vote them in, and we cannot vote them out. So, I mean, we can try and do that with our money, but a lot of people need to wake up to what's going on first before that happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's hard. Like I wish people would wake up a little bit quicker, and I know that they are still waking up, and we touched on that a little bit last week. But if people would wake up quicker, we could band together quicker and hold our money back from them and hopefully make some change that way. But the voting systems are corrupt. We're not gonna win anything there. They've infiltrated everything. If it's not China infiltrating Canada, it's the WEF and all of the other insidious corporations, and it's awful. We're basically enslaved to it, and I think a lot of people just don't want to see that.
Yeah, well, it's a dark path.
That's true.
It is. Well, ladies, this has been quite the rabbit hole that we've ventured down today.
Oh yeah,
sure.
Work to do. I got Pinocchio to go watch. It's gonna be a busy evening for me. Busy evening.
Yeah, it's this was, I didn't expect this to segue into so many different parts, but I'm glad it did. It made for some great conversation. Suze, any final thoughts from you?
I would just like to mention, because when we were talking about follow the money, and this is going to be a whole other topic, but I'd like to just point out regarding like the climate topic. Do we all know how much Greta makes per showing wherever she goes?
Do you have the answer to this?
It's $250,000 per sighting.
Little bitch.
She doesn't give a fuck about the climate, okay?
No,
Doesn't give
she
two
doesn't.
shits, because she's rolling in the dough and her parents are rich and they're like, yeah, go talk about this, we'll save the planet, eat some crickets, let's do this. Yeah, fuck that bitch.
Yeah, Greta's a whole other rabbit hole on her own. So Suze's final remarks are, fuck that bitch.
Fuck that bitch.
Ashley, any final thoughts for you?
I think I need to invest in tinfoil stocks.
Yes.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Not a bad
God.
idea.
And I need to go
idea.
to Costco and get more tinfoil because we're going deep right off the get-go.
Well, BlackRock probably owns Costco and tinfoil.
Shit.
Can we make our own tinfoil? How do we?
I'm gonna have to melt down some cans, start
Right?
making my own.
We just solder pieces of can together to make a hat.
There we go.
It'll stay on better anyways.
That's true.
It'll be more of like a tin helmet.
Yeah, just make sure we
we'll be
file
battle
down those
ready.
rough edges. We don't want to cut ourselves up. That makes look a little satanic,
Ashley, just before we close off, you are hosting next week. Do you want to give us a preview on what to expect?
Sure. So I had the great pleasure of going to see Tamara Leach this weekend. She performed at a concert, a fundraiser for two gentlemen who are in a legal battle right now. And so I wanted to talk about just kind of where we're at with the freedom community, maybe get into like a couple of the new sort of developments that have happened since the Emergencies Act was deemed unconstitutional, and just kind of get into some of the litigation, the new litigation that's taking place, just to kind of give an update there. But then also just to talk about the idea of getting together with like-minded people in person, because I think a lot of us spend a lot of time on social media with our friends there because that's where we found each other. But it was really incredible to be in community with so many great people. There are a lot of V for F, that's for freedom there. And it was just such a wonderful vibe, just being around so many great people and having fun together, and looking at each other, like looking in each other's eyes and smiling and dancing and just like I think that's something that we've really been missing out on in the last bunch of years, of course, with the lockdowns and everything like
For
that.
sure.
And I think that maybe some of us never kind of went back to actually meeting people in person. And so I just kind of wanted to get into that whole topic of just the
Let's be
importance
social
of,
beings again.
yeah, exactly. And not just social media people, like building our communities and coming together so that we have that sense of meaning in such a profound way.
I love it.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to that. Okay, well, thanks everyone for joining us. We look forward to spreading more misinformation to you on next week's episode. And yeah, thanks for joining us, and we will see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.